Welcome to Paul Ricard on a Sunday afternoon, a very windy but bright Sunday afternoon. This is for the second of the two races, the final round of the 2025 McLaren Trophy Europe. We started at Brands Hatch, moved to Monza, Spa-Francorchamps, the Nürburgring, and now here. I'm Bruce Jones, and alongside I'm delighted, again I've got Tommy Erdos to put me straight as I go wrong, and he'll give us all the technical lowdown as well. But Tommy, yesterday we came with various championships to be sorted. The Pro title, because of a penalty, victory went to Michael O'Brien and Jayden Kelly. That gave them the title. In the AM, Tim Docker landed it. We've got Pro-Am honours to look for today, but the championships are coming thick and fast, and the Papaya Cup needs to be sorted out as well.
That's right. Great to see there's lots of the classes still to be decided. I think it was a bit of a surprise yesterday that the Pro class sealed it yesterday, and in fact, you look at Jayden Kelly's face. He couldn't believe it. He didn't even know that they'd won the championship. But what a great result for the number 17 crew and Greystone GT, deserving champions. But great racing to come up today, as you say, from the Pro-Am class, the Papaya class, and lots to look at today. So and the weather looks great. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of very strong wind overnight, and we were talking yesterday, if you get the wind behind your tail when you're going up the Mistral straight towards Scene, you may have to think about life a little more carefully, because it can be really strong up here on the plateau. Absolutely,
Bruce. It's a real consideration. There's been some weather warnings about the sort of the severity of some of the wind gusts around Paul Ricard, and in fact the winds are picking up. One of the corners that's the most affected corner by this is actually the double R, which is the corner after Sins. When they turn right into the double R, the wind really hits them sort of 90 degrees, and that could actually have a very big effect on them.
Certainly could. It'll all be in their minds. Of course, they went out this morning, but conditions change all the time. Now I think we're going to go down to the grid, because one of the stars of yesterday is in the Pro-Am battle. Let's go down and join Marietta Evans. We're in the world of Pro-Am, and it's with car number 88, and Lucas Sandal will be driving that with Eric Behrens. Eric is with Marietta.
Eric, after yesterday, that's back-to-back wins, Nürburgring Race 2 yesterday, you have reduced the gap to car 22 to only 7 points in the Pro-Am category. What is the mindset coming into this race?
Mindset, it's as always, doing our best, perform we can. The team, they are well prepared, and we are once again going for P1. Nothing we can do, and yeah, we focus on ourselves, and we are going for it.
In the last races, where you have been winning 2 races consecutively, what have you found, where have you improved that has helped you to be in this position today?
Yeah, thanks. It's amazing. 5-pole position of 6 possible. And you have the guy in the car at the moment, Lucas Sandal. He's so good, and humble guy, and he's been giving me even more speed. So we are a good team together.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you.
Well, nice and measured there, but look for the Alpha B car, one of the best liveries. You look at JPS Lotus from the 1970s, black with the gold lines. It works for you and me, Tommy, doesn't it?
Fantastic. These guys have been really doing well, and like Eric said, Lucas Sundau is very quick. Certainly pushing Ollie Webb all the way through, and today the Pro-Am class will be decided obviously mainly between these 2 cars, but there's also a fight for 3rd position right now, and there are 3 cars alone just for the 3rd spot of the Pro-Am class. So really exciting battle there in the Pro-Am class.
And last night, well, it was early evening when the race came to an end, but for Jayden Kelly and Michael O'Brien, they didn't know they'd won the title because they were second across the finish line. But let's pop down, because Marietta's moving at great speed, and she's caught up with car number 22, Ryan James and Ollie Webb, but Ryan is with Marietta.
Ryan is going down to the wire. Ollie and you're still leading in Pro-Am, but car 88 has reduced the gap. They are in front of you. How are you handling the pressure?
Well, it's a unique challenge for me, because usually Ollie is, puts me in flat-out mode every time. But it's a unique time where we just have to keep it together, bring the car home in, P3 or above, which I'm very confident we can do. We have the best mechanics on the grid, so I have a lot of belief in the car, and for Ollie to bring it back with 290 seconds of push to pass.
When you're in a position like this, you're sharing the car with a pro driver like Ollie. You will be the one, as you said, taking it to the finish line. Are you more comfortable if it's Ollie starting the race? Is it more challenging if it's you finishing the race?
Yeah, I really prefer to start, one, because it's way fun going into turn 1. And also in the second half of the race, the tires are starting to get old, so it's a different challenge. But I really do prefer starting.
Good luck today. Thank you
So much.
Thanks very much, Marietta, with Ryan James. Now, of course, pointing out in the Pro-Am class, you have a much earlier pit stop today because the Pro will start and they're not supposed to do most of the driving. They could come in as early as 10 minutes into the race out of the 50, and they've got it open until 20 minutes into the race. We'll take a look at that, but a technical point here, the push to pass.
Yes, what is push to pass? Now, what wizardry is this, Bruce? I mean, McLaren gave these guys lots of toys to play with. And here we go, push to pass. That's 300 seconds. 300 minutes would have been great, wouldn't it? But 300 seconds of push to pass, which means these guys have a button on the steering wheel, they press the button, they have an extra 35 horsepower on top of the 585 that's already in that car. So it becomes a little rocket for these guys, but they have to be careful. If they use too much too soon, they won't have any at the end.
Exactly. Racing drivers saving stuff for someone else. Doesn't often happen, does it? Right, let's go down to Marietta. She's moved at great speed. Who have you got for us, Marietta?
I'm with Klaus, who is in a great place to win in the Papaya Club today. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we still have to win it first. I mean, we are starting pretty much from the end of the field because it didn't qualify that well. But my co-driver, Bradley, is pretty good. He will catch up and we will give it our very best.
How much have you been enjoying this season? Where do you feel you have improved as a driver?
Oh, well, I have enjoyed it in total, and I also believe I have improved in every aspect. But still, there's so many more things to be learned because I started relatively late with my racing career, and I need to catch up quite a bit.
How much experience did you have on Paul Ricard prior to this weekend?
This is my first time at Paul Ricard, and I like the track.
Enjoying today. Have a great race.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Marietta. That's Klaus Halsig sharing, as he said, with Bradley Ellis, who is quite good. You had a smile when he said that. Bradley's a superstar in this, isn't he?
Absolutely. So it was really, I think that's more a case of being a second language for Klaus Halsig. English, he obviously, like me, rates Brad Ellis very highly. Brad is one of those absolutely top-line drivers here, and yesterday you could see his pace when he got in the car, even though he had old tyres, obviously, to finish the race. So yes, Bradley will be featuring very highly there in the beginning of the race. Halsig didn't have a good qualifying session, but as he mentioned there, first time at the circuit, so he's learning his way around here.
Okay, if people are watching the McLaren Trophy for the first time, this is the European Series. We've got the North American Series, and I understand that one of the crews may be going over to the last round in Indianapolis because they're just having too much fun. But we've got the Pro class, we've got Pro-Am, we've got Am, a Papaya Cup. Papaya Cup is for the drivers with more candles on their birthday cake. Is that the right way of explaining it?
That's very nicely put. I'm glad that you said that. But yes, it's for those, some people call it gentleman drivers or ladies, as Fiona James is definitely in that cup and very much fighting for the championship of that. So there are actually 3 people that can still mathematically very easily win that title. So Klaus Halsig is the current leader of the Papaya Cup, but he's only got 10-point gap. I'll say only. It's quite a good margin there, but there are 15 points on the table. So Klaus Halsig leads it, but both Fiona James and Ron Trenker are fighting for that title.
Okay, and just as the grid clears, great to see these cars. It's 15 points for a win, 12 for second, 10 for third, down to 1 point for 10th. But let's just talk about the front of the grid. We've got, they weren't champions until about 6:30 yesterday evening, but it's Jayden Kelly who'll be watching on, and Michael O'Brien who'll be starting from pole position. Alongside we have Zach Meakin and Harry Burgoyne, a real mix of teams. Greystone GT, ahead of SMC Motorsport, third team at the front end, ALM Motorsport. They were on pole yesterday. Sam Harrison starts today, and they'll hand over to Leonidas Karavasili. But just point out, that was the car that was first to the checkered flag yesterday, but their pit stop was just slightly too short, and they were hit with a 20-second penalty, and that is really why Kelly and O'Brien crossed the finish line. He had no idea. He thought might still have to tidy up the championship today. They got it in the bag, which must be such a point of relaxation for them.
Absolutely. Number 17 crew will be absolutely full on trying to win the race. No more pressure in that sense. But what a sad ending in a way for the Karavasili Harrison crew, number 90, because they led the race. They had a fantastic event, and they've been doing so well throughout the season. It was not supposed to be biased, but I think most people were, wishing them to do well and win that race. But here they are. They're on the second row of the grid, and Harrison in the car now, who is very, very quick, and I'm sure they will feature very, very well in this race.
Yeah, well, obviously they're still gunning for that first win. They've hardly ever been off the podium. But, you know, when you're doing a season, but let's hope they come back next year and try and win the championship. But they'd like to win this one on a high. However, you can be sure the pride of being champions, Jayden Kelly, who's watching on, and Michael O'Brien, they don't want to be anywhere other than first at the end of this race. It's all professional pride, Tommy. You racing drivers, honestly.
That's it. You know, every race, you take every race to win. I mean, that's what it is, and they'll be doing just that. But it's not going to be that easy for them. You know, they have a 7-second success penalty to be added to their pit stops because they won the race yesterday. And Zach Mikin and Harry Burgoyne, they've been featuring very, very well since Spa. Really, they've had a really good turn of speed since Spa, being very quick. And in qualifying, there's nothing in it. There's 0.004 of a second between Michael O'Brien and Zach Mikin, and Michael O'Brien is absolutely top-notch. So
no, exactly. It shows the gap is closing. And let's point out, here's the grid. So we've got pole position, the new champions in the Pro class. As you said, a whisker ahead of the number 68 of Harry Burgoyne and Zach Meakin, with Zach starting off. Sam Harrison will start third. Fourth on the grid will be Will Aspin. And yesterday we had a problem with one of the cars not getting off the grid. Alejandro Yepet sat there. He was third on the grid, but alas, when he eventually got going, he was last into the first corner. Real fight back from them. So for today, obviously they'll have no success penalty. They are working their way presumably towards the front from fourth place. But, you know, again, we just talked yesterday, Tommy, about the problem that you have sometimes getting these cars off the line, and they suffered.
Yes, and they went through all the data to understand, because we didn't know if it was a technical issue or whether Alex just had a little bit too much throttle, because it's all to do with throttle angle and how you release the brake pedal. You know, also you can't build up the revs too early, because that again triggers the sort of limp mode that we say, and that's probably what happened there. So the main thing is that they've gone through it, they understand what happened. Hopefully, it's a different drivers obviously starting that car today, but they have they're wiser now about what happened. Hopefully that won't happen again.
I mean, you can never stop learning as a racing driver at all. Right, you just touched on success penalty. If you finish first in the previous race, you're 7 seconds more at your pit stop.
7 seconds added to your pit stop, correct.
5 seconds longer if you finished second, honestly, and 3 seconds if you finished third yesterday. So we'll work towards that when we come to the pit stop time. But for the Pro and Pro-Am runners, it's 132 seconds in the pits. Effectively, it's at 60 seconds in the pits and 72 seconds added to that, which is the in and out from the pit lane. They're all numbers, but they will have a role to play, and we'll see who works out they're getting a little bit stuck in traffic. Do they come in at the early point of their pit window? However, these are all things they have to consider. Whatever else they go on to do after this, if they move on to other things, there'll be other sets of rules they have to learn, and it's all part of the equation. Racing, it's been a long time since it's start form on the grid and just race to the end. There's so much more to it. And it's not just the drivers, it's the teams as well, the mechanics. Everybody's got to be completely attuned. And you look down the length of the pit lane, there's some really, really strong outfits running this, and obviously all the backup from McLaren. It's all about bringing the knowledge through. But the cars are forming up in the grid, and on pole position, it's Michael O'Brien alongside Zach Meakin, the car with the orange flashes on its blue flanks. Tucked into third place, Sam Harrison, probably feeling a bit aggrieved yesterday. One little mistake in the pit stop, and it cost them what would have been their first win in McLaren Trophy Europe. And Will Aspin, who had a really good chase in the second half of yesterday's race, he'll be starting fourth behind the sister car of Zach Meakin. Fifth on the grid will be Josh Mason, and that was the car that retired yesterday, so they've got something to avenge and hopefully put a good result in, because they were thoroughly deflated. So it's all eyes as the last car just forming up at the back of the grid. Just looking at Klaus Halsig forming into position at the back of the grid. The green flag is waved. That means the starter can pick any moment to let the lights go from green to red. Standing start, last one of the season for these drivers. And we'll see who's going to land the Pro-Am title, who's going to be Papaya Cup. We know two of the champions already, and it's all the same. Again, it looked as though that number 12 SMC car was slightly slow off the line. Got going, but already it looks as though Josh Mason has made moves, possibly into third place. Aquamarine knows of his car. Yes, he has. But the first two cars neat and tidy through turn one, turn two. This track may look flat on paper, but there's plenty of gradient change. Oh, and then it looks as though, hold on, in third position here, Josh Mason ran a little bit wide, and all he gained in the first corner, he's lost, well, one of those places in behind.
Sam Harrison there slotting into the lead into turn three. Great opportunistic move there, but it's all very tight into five, coming out of five.
Okay, so third on the grid, upset that they didn't win yesterday's race because of that penalty, but Sam Harrison has made the move very early on indeed, and Michael O'Brien wasn't able to resist on that slide down the hill from turn 2 to turn 3. 4 it starts to tighten up, 5 even more so, but neat and tidy. Up the Mistral straight they go, but of course, hold on a second, what are they doing on the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the track from their point of view? Because they're about to turn into the chicane halfway up the straight. It's left, it's right, it's left again, and then on up the slope to Scene. Very nice and neat and tidy and competitive into the chicane for the first time.
Yeah, you can see Brad Ellis there already making a move onto Lucas Sundal, so a great start from Brad Ellis.
He's gained 3 places in a half lap, so he's doing what he needs to. A couple of cars a little bit further off at the back of the pack. In fact, that means that Brad Ellis has actually gained about 5 places, possibly just picked another one up coming out of the chicane. So he thinks it's obviously only a 3-lap race, but anyhow, pressing on, why not? It's rude not to.
It's always full on with Brad Ellis, very, very quick in the sprint race. But look at Sam Harrison and the leader he's pulled out into second place. This is absolutely perfect for the number 90 crew. Obviously very keen to put right the result from yesterday.
Yeah, and to get that first win, it's always something that's elusive until you've got it, and it just changes your mindset. Doesn't matter what the sport is when you finally nail it. Right, Michael O'Brien running some distance back in second place, and the 2 cars from SMC Motorsport, Zach Meakin ahead of Will Aspin, and having started 5th, got into 3rd and fallen back to 5th is Josh Mason all over again.
Big battle there in the pro class. Obviously 3 or 4 cars actually fighting for P2 in the championship. It's very, very close. Only 1 point between second place and third place in the championship, and only another few 4 or 5 points behind. But even the Zach Meakin and Harry Burgoyne car with 69 points against 78, 79 ahead of them, it's all to play for second place in the pro class.
Yeah, absolutely so. And Pro-Am, of course, we came into the title battle yesterday with a 10-point margin between first and second. Came down to 7 points, and it's looks like Ollie Webb's car has just moved forward a position. And Ryan James, as he said, he'll get it at some point later in the race, hopefully with lots of push to pass. And of course, what we can't see would be great. We talked about this before, Tommy. If there was something on the roof of the car or something that told you the driver was using push to pass, we could see, how much a driver was using it the first part of the race. Admittedly, in these bright conditions, maybe it'd be hard to see, but 300 seconds that you've got, but you've got to use it judiciously at the right moment.
And Bruce, just to add to the pressure, this is the last race of the season. There's lots of positions there to be gained, and if you allow your emotions to get on top of you, you're going to press the button more than you really should. They really need to watch out. Now look at the Pro-Am battle. We've got Webb in a very good position against Sundal. I don't know what happened to Sundal at the start, but he's dropped back a fair bit. This is absolutely not what the number 88 crew wanted. They need to be ahead of that car to have any chance of the championship.
Yeah, it was on the run down the hill to turn sort of 4 and 5 on the opening lap. I noticed the black car was going somewhat backwards down the order, but Ollie Webb just picking up positions as he can. He's going to come in between 10 and 20 minutes into the 50-minute race. Graphic at the top of the screen shows that we're counting down from 50 minutes. When that gets down to about a minute, we know we'll be on the final lap of the race. But Ollie Webb is doing what he can. He only has a maximum of 20 minutes to use all the advantage and the speed that he's built up over the years, almost decades now in racing. Tip-top driver. But in this championship, like a lot of Pro-Am championships, it's about bringing along the Am, and it's about imparting that information and really getting a driver to find their best form.
Oh, hello. I thought I'd join in as well. Last race, so 3 commentators better than 2. I just wanted to add, I thought Maurice Henry had a fantastic start at the Pro-Am. He was leading at the end of the first lap, started behind all the other guys. I think he was probably 4th in class. He's had a bit of a rough year, a bit of bad luck, so it's nice to see him really shining, and he's having a good battle there with Lucas Sundal. But yeah, Brad and Duncan Tappy, I think those are the ones to keep an eye on actually as they come through.
Well, they've only got a sort of short window to show their skill, as we said, between 10 and 20 minutes in the race. Then they get the shepherd's crook, they're pulled out of the car, and the Am gets in to do the lion's share. But that is one of the 2 title battles we've still got to watch. Looking at a fierce battle because Michael O'Brien is being pushed and harried around the circuit. Zach Meakin, who had a really good race yesterday afternoon along with Harry Burgoyne, is all over his tail, looking to see what he can gain. But all along at the front of the race, Sam Harrison is just doing what he did yesterday. Didn't result in victory yesterday, but he and his teammate Leonidas Karavasili looked very useful. But what he got here, Tommy and Tom, he's got the break going up the Mistral straight. They can't get a toe off him. He's just too far ahead. He's not miles ahead. He's at 1 1/4 seconds, but I think that's just just about enough at the moment.
No, absolutely. I'm just surprised to see actually Michael O'Brien just not quite, closing up that gap. There's about a 1 second, maybe just over a second lead there for Sam Harrison. It just shows, the talent that is in that ALM car, not just the drivers, but of course ALM doing a fantastic job with the setup of their car. Both their cars very fast here at Paul Ricard. But Sam Harrison, what a show.
Yeah, it was noticeable talking to the teams yesterday. They're saying that ALM had just got something for Paul Ricard's setup, and I think it might have been Sam was explaining they've sort of set it up so it's not very strong in one half of the circuit and not so good in the other. It's a good average across the board, and that seems to suit them.
Yeah, very much so. Whatever they have, it's the right combination. They're really, really strong. Yes, it's only for that 20-second penalty in the pits that they didn't win that race. We've got a track warning flag there coming up for number 43. That's the Josh Mason, Sam Nasser car. And these guys are going to have to start watching for track limits as well.
Yeah, it's a little something in modern racing. If you go all four wheels beyond the white line that marks the edge of the circuit, then you're going to be picked up for penalties. If you've got the width of the sidewall of your tyre just within the white line, you're sort of okay. But it's something, and you don't get in trouble with the first time, second, third. It builds up, and then you get to a point, and whatever it is, the message starts to come across. And for the crews, if it's a real battle, as Bradley Ellis is getting very, very busy indeed, right on the tail of the red and black car of Ollie Webb, who had a little mystery yesterday. Remember, out of the final corner, he suddenly seemed to lose power, got given a little push. But today, well, that was a neat and tidy move there from Brad Ellis. And Ollie Webb's deciding, you can come through. I'm in a title battle. Your car is just out of it, so let's not pick up any damage. That was experience.
Exactly that, Bruce. That just showed the experience of Ollie Webb there. His fight was Lucas Sundal, and he's winning that fight at this stage. There's no point in getting involved with somebody else's battle. Brad, they're already pulling away, so obviously it has a lot more pace than Ollie at this part of the race for whatever reason. But yeah, speaking to Ollie yesterday after the race, he was puzzled as well. He was a complete cut-off, but then he came back on again. So hopefully that won't happen again today.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I wonder how much Bradley Ellis has been using the push to pass just to get track position. He's handing over the majority of this race to Klaus Halsig, but actually by getting a few cars ahead of a few other cars, that could be a bigger helping hand than Klaus, who otherwise might be racing against nobody later in the race. So there's no advantage in using it, but that's the decision you have to make as a driver, isn't it?
It's true, but in the Pro-Am class, Brad Ellis and Klaus Halsig are in third place, and they want to absolutely protect that position. So Brad will be absolutely full on, but he's very mindful of leaving some push to pass to Klaus Halsig. So knowing Brad, he'll be doing that with the minimal amount of push to pass that he can. But he does look very, very, very racy at this stage.
Now, a driver who really started to impress me, I think it was the second time I watched him, was here this weekend, is Rafael Muncharaz, who's settling in. He had a little off-track moment yesterday, but came back and then picked off cars in front of him. So it's one thing doing a good lap, but he was also doing the overtaking, which isn't always easy. I mean, it's quite wide here at Paul Ricard, but you still have to choose your moment. He's leading the AM class again today, so it's great to have people sort of joining a little way into the season, getting a feel for the cars and the power as they work into bigger machinery. And, it was great to see. I was really impressed.
Yeah, very much so. I think Rafael is coming in, obviously, sort of mid-season. Always very difficult to do that. And the Evo Trophy is a new car to him. Although he's driven McLarens before, he had a 570S a couple of years ago. He did a round in Barcelona and did very well. But obviously, it's not the same thing when you come in, in the cold, if you will, not having raced for a while. So at the first race or two, he struggled a little bit. Now he's finding his feet. Of course, he's leading the class now.
He's doing very well. I believe he's got a bit of experience in the Artura now, because he does run with SMC in the Iberian GT Championship. However, that's the GT4 spec rather than the trophy spec, which, as we know, is a big step. So he's really impressing. He had another fantastic start as well. He was got a better start than some of the pros and was mixing it earlier in the lap. Dropped back a little bit now, but he's really showing very well, considering he's not done a whole lot of racing with us. So
yeah, again, he's obviously looking, listening and learning from the experts you have around in the camp. You were just mentioning there, of course, you said, Rafael, that he started with a 570S. That's not something we use anymore. It's all Arturas, because that was the subclass, wasn't it, in the early McLaren Trophy Europe?
Very true. Technically, I think we still have in the regulations that you can enter the 570. However, we will get this year the new Evo specification, and the same in the American Championship, which is great to see. So everyone's on the level playing field, which is really fantastic.
It's much less confusing for the commentators.
Exactly.
It's all about us, really, Tom and Tommy. So what's happening at the front of the race? Well, it's still Sam Harrison leading. He's gained about 1/10 of a second. He's 1.4 seconds clear. Great little battle in behind, but at the moment there's nothing that Zach Meekin can do to overtake Michael O'Brien. Michael's a wily bird, and he's very quick as well, but it's almost as though ALM have got the most fantastic setup on their car, because what if Michael O'Brien can't close in on Sam Harrison? No disrespect to Sam, you would, in terms of their experience, expect Michael to be able to do that. However, I guess the fact he's got Zach Meekin all over the tail of his car in their battle for second place is just buying Sam a little bit of time. But anyhow, no complaints. Sam Harrison absolutely flying.
Let's see how this battle for Pro-Am honours is going to shake out. This is for third place. There's third, fourth and fifth. So we've got Maurice Henry leading the way in that trio, with Lucas Sundal just behind, and Duncan Tappy hot on the heels there, using push to pass to make a move down the inside. But very close, isn't it?
The first corner at Paul Ricard is such a tricky corner, because as you're coming down the straight, you've got the pits on one side, all the way a long way back, and you've got trees on both sides when you're approaching the braking zone, and then you can't see the corner until you're quite a long way into it. You can see straight ahead where there's a lot of runoff with all those bands of different coloured paint, and it's actually, the further you go beyond the circuit, the more abrasive that paint is. And so if you're in a magnificent giant spin, you can feel when you've moved from the blue stripes to the red, because suddenly your tyres are getting a lot worse as they're being shaved.
Very much so. It's very unique to Paul Ricard system, and obviously they have massive runoffs. They are tarmac runoffs, so there's no gravel traps. So there's a few gravel traps here and there. I think it's just for show, really, but mainly the runoff area, these coloured areas. And as you said, Bruce, the red areas are very abrasive. And in fact, if you have a high-speed spin onto the red areas, you will damage your tires. You won't be able to continue. So it is very effective in slowing the car down when it's spinning or going sideways. However, if you go straight on, they don't slow you down very much.
No, just think of it as layers of very different types of sandpaper.
It seemed like a knowing nod from
it
Tommy
did, didn't
then.
it? I
was that from what a friend had told you that?
No, I've experienced it.
Okay.
Bear in mind the Paul Ricard circuit, when it landed, when it was opened by the man called Paul Ricard, who made the pastis brands, it was as though this circuit came from outer space, the very start of the 1970s, and the Formula One teams came here and went, oh my God, because they've been used to racing on tracks like Brands Hatch. The previous circuit they used was Clermont-Ferrand, the Charade circuit, where it's all up and down, you've got barriers very close in, and so on and so forth, and the Nürburgring, bear in mind, back then. And they came here, and obviously it was modernised, it fell away for a bit, but it is still a brilliant place to race. But it does get prone, being high on a plateau up above sort of Marseille, Toulon, can be very, very windy here. At the moment, I'm looking out from the commentary box, the trees aren't moving around too much, but all it takes is a gust that wasn't there the previous 3 laps, so your braking point is suddenly too late.
That's it. That's the problem here. It's and we have some sort of severe weather warnings about gusts coming up to 70, 74 kilometers per hour, and that's pretty strong when you turn right at the double R and it hits you sideways.
Brad Ellis is making another move. He's looking for currently 6th, looking to make a move on Josh Mason to move up to 5th, and Will Aspin is just in front of them as well. So we've got another great battle going on here, but Brad doesn't want to quit, does he? He's going for it.
Brad Ellis is always on a mission. He absolutely, I love watching him race. He's a great racer. And look at him, he's got his lights flashing, so he's got the push to pass button. So he's using a bit of that. He's also using a bit of track limits because he's on a warning already. So he's absolutely 10/10 on that at the moment.
It's Rafael Monchares coming into the pits for an unscheduled stop there, which is a shame.
Yeah, that's before the pit stop window. That wouldn't be until we see 30 minutes left on the clock at the top of our screen. We've only got 36, so he's racing solo, but clearly something isn't quite right. So it's our fault. We praised him. He was leading the AM class, but hopefully it's something they can at least sort and send him out.
I was just going to say, curse of the commentator, so I'll have to go and apologise later, but yes, it's a shame to see him come in.
Okay, no sign at all. Maybe he's picked up a puncture. Well, anyhow, we can't second guess that. There's no point speculating. But driver's staying on board. There's no reason to train the driver because he was due to do all of the race. So what's happening for those out on track? It's still Sam Harrison leading the way. Car number 90, car that was first to the finish yesterday, but with a 20-second penalty, did not end up taking victory overall, but that's still leading. The margin has been staying at went out to about 1.5 seconds. I think it's actually slightly come down, waiting for the next timing interval. Car in second place, giving chase. No, Michael O'Brien, the last lap has been quicker. He's slightly closing in on the race leader and just beginning to drop Zach Meekin. First, second and third, down the sloping start-finish straight they come to the first corner. Left and almost immediately right. You can see the painted stripes beyond the curbs, and that's where you don't want to go. And then the next battle Aspin, Mason, Ellis, bit of a gap, and now in the Pro-Am class, Ollie Webb still with plenty of company, and Moncherez back into the race, but that puts him effectively, if not stone last, but yes, he's just behind Tim Docker, who landed the AM Championship yesterday, so he was one of 3 people that left here very happy last night, along with Michael O'Brien, who's running second today, and his teammate Jayden Kelly, who a young Australian teenager based in Spain, and has learnt his racing very, very quickly indeed. He's got a title in the bag already. But we mentioned before race, there are 4 crews that can still be second in the Pro Championship. In terms of the number of points they have in the bag, Will Aspin and Alejandro Geppert, they are second in the championship on 79. On 78, it's Sam Harrison and Leonidas Karavasili. They're leading the race at the moment, so if they stay as they are, they would take second place in the championship. Sam Nesser, Josh Mason, they're third on 70, or fourth on 74, and fifth, outside hope, the crew in third place, Zach Meakin and Harry Burgoyne. So at the moment, by running in second and third positions, I think that would put second place into the hands of Harrison and Karavasili. But we've still got those things called pit stops, and that's where they came unstuck yesterday. You can be sure they might be an extra second slower to be on the safe side today.
I think they'll play more conservative for sure, and but as you say, the pit stops could really throw everything around. Look what happened to the 90 crew, Leonidas Karavasili and Sam Harrison. That really, they lost the race in the pits. So yes, all to play for still after the pit stops, but Josh Mason, that had a mirror full of Brad Ellis. No longer that's the case, because Brad is now ahead of the number 43 car and tanking away. He's now in 5th position. So what a great start there for Brad Ellis.
Yeah, he's made that move, made it stick. Right, the pit window will open for the Pro and the AM runners in just under 3 minutes' time. If you're one of the drivers who's running second in a 2-car train, do you go, am I being held up by the car in front? Do I pit as early as possible? Because, or do I wait and let them pit and then I try and get the clear bit of track? But anyhow, these decisions have to be made. How strong around a circuit like this is the pit-to-car radio? Can they all hear at all points on the circuit?
I'm just going to butt in here, guys, because it looks like Lucas Sundell has come into the pits outside of the pit window, according to the timing screen, and he's not. He was in that gap behind Maurice Henry and Duncan Tappy, so he seems to have disappeared, which if he's out of pit stop window, that's not good news for their championship.
And not at all. So they were second. They closed the gap to 7 points in the Pro-Am title battle with yesterday's results, and there was a problem with this. Well, whatever happened at the start of the race, it wasn't a good start for Lucas Sundell. Fell down the order a little bit, hadn't really gained a lot, so I don't know if there is a technical problem with that car, but no idea. But outside the pit window doesn't open for him until we have 30 minutes left on the top of the screen. But there is the Alfa car at a standstill in the pit lane. Can't see into there, but this is really unfortunate. Suddenly Ollie Webb and Ryan James are in a really, really strong position. They have a 7-point lead, and with every second that car is at a standstill. But more to the point, it's before the pit window, so they still have to come in and serve a pit stop. So I'm afraid in the Pro-Am title battle, you have to say it's over and out, because unless there's a disaster for Ollie Webb, who's driving at the moment, and his teammate Ryan James, who's waiting to get on board, that is suddenly the pressure off their shoulders.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, because they were having a fantastic run this weekend. Eric is a very competitive driver, did a fantastic job to put it on pole position yesterday and win, and pole again today, so it's a shame to see.
Well, it's got going again, but couldn't actually see what was done, so we'll only find out after the course of the race, one would feel, but out he comes. Okay. 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, and if you want to know who's driving car 49, that's Maurice Henry, sharing with Fiona James. We actually just saw Fiona in the background in the pit lane waiting, because she's going to take over pretty soon. And here comes Brad Ellis in. That's also before the pit window, unless I'm gravely mistaken.
No, they are. No, we're talking out of turn. This is the Pro-Am battle, so they are absolutely in the pit window.
Only just in the pit window.
We should know better than that, Tom.
Yes.
Clearly, it's the end of the year, so we're showing our how tired we are. But yes, so everything is as it should be.
Okay. So no wonder there was no excitement down there. It was because if you're in the Pro-Am class, the Pro starts first and gets a smaller share of the crown. And more to the point, they pit between 10 and 20 minutes in the race. So that's absolutely spot on. In fact, Brad Ellis came in at the last time he possibly could. If he'd done another lap, he'd be in too late. So Klaus Halsey, we heard from him on the grid with Marietta Evans. He will be getting on board to take it to the finish. But that was a really good run from Brad Ellis. How much the push to pass remains is something that When you get in the car, can you see how much is left, or is it just it's got an indicator you've got 20% left or whatever?
Absolutely, yeah. It counts down from 300 seconds. Obviously, downwards they have a bar graph. They know exactly what they have.
Okay. Otherwise, you're pressing it, suddenly you've got nothing. I thought if there was no description, trying to make a move, and then you back down to regular power, which was the mere 585 horsepower in these light rockets. So pit lane busy at the moment with the Pro-Am runners, but this is the point in the race now where the Pro and the Am classes can come and make their pit stops. Theirs is a much more regular section, very close to either side of the halfway point in this 50-minute race. So Klaus Halsig takes off. Of course, this is where you look in and go, don't speed in the pit lane. There are so many moments when you get too emotional in the car. You can just do something that almost gains you an advantage, but the punishment is huge. But anyhow, Klaus Halsig in the orange car out onto the track, setting away, followed by Ryan James there coming out. Ollie Webb did the first part of the race.
And a great job did Ollie Webb there on the first stop, staying in front of Sundal. And I think maybe Sundal, I was surprised by I would say the lack of pace, because they were almost together, but they had obviously Morris Henry in between the two sort of protagonists for the Pro-Am battle. I thought Sundal would be a little bit closer to Ollie Webb, but yeah, great job again by the Pro driving car 22. They're in a good position.
Tell you who I'd like to hear from. And Marietta's already found him. Bradley Ellis.
Brad, that was a brilliant run. Can you talk us through that stint from the back of the grid to leading in Pro-Am on track?
Yeah, I mean, where we took a gamble in qualifying, it didn't work, and unfortunately Klaus didn't get a best lap time out of himself, so we ended up starting last on the grid, unfortunately. But yeah, no, as I expected. I wasn't expecting to come in first in Pro-Am. I was hoping to be at the front, battling with Ollie, but within a couple of laps I could be with him. He made a small mistake and just sort of waved me through, really, so thank you, Ollie.
And of course, Klaus is fighting to finish as a champion in the Papaya Club category. What words of advice have you given him for his stint now?
I actually told him not to think about trying to win the Papaya or even trying to secure third in the Pro-Am Championship. I told him just to literally focus on himself and enjoy the race, really. That's all he can do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's true, that's good advice from Brad Ellis.
That's great advice, because the last thing you want to do is talk about what the point situation is or fight for the championship, anything like that. That just adds extra pressure. So a very experienced Brad Ellis there, not only as a driver but as a good coach that he is. Yeah,
14th up to 5th before the round of pit stops. It wasn't too bad at all. But again, he was talking about how Ollie made a minor mistake but wasn't going to fight him, because we said at the time there's no point, because Ollie is leading the championship. There's no point risking any damage, and certainly damage that you would pass on to your teammate, who has to carry for more of the race than you do, because when you're the Pro, you get a shorter section in this race.
Damage is the worst thing that could have happened to car 22, because they are in a good position ahead of the championship. They need to finish the race, so risking the car in any way wouldn't be wise. And of course we weren't expecting less from Ollie Webb to just do the right thing at that point.
Yeah, so many things you need to do. In a two-driver race, it's even more complicated when you're running in full endurance races and you have 3 or even 4 drivers in the car. You also have that continuity. If you're a driver, this is a question to you, Tom. It's a rainy day. You've got to have a pit stop. If you're a solo driver, it's an advantage, because you know how wet it is when you come back out, whereas your teammate is coming out not knowing.
This is very true, but they do have pit car radio, so they'll be communicating all the time and telling them where it's wetter and where the rain's falling heaviest and all those kind of things. So yes, it will be an advantage, because you'll have almost muscle memory of where it was wetter. But that said, I'm no expert on these things, Tommy is, but tracks change all the time when it comes to rain, don't they?
That's true, but the radio does come into place in those positions, exactly what you said, Tom. So they're in contact, so the incoming driver has an idea of what the track is like. Hopefully they would have done some practice before the race, and if they get some wet running, they kind of know it. But for sure, the guy that stays in the car solo knows exactly what the grip level is all around the track.
There we go. This is a critical pit stop for Sam Harrison and Leo Caravasili, who have just pitted. They will be taking their time and hoping to get this one on the nose and on the money and get out.
Well, they were on a lead that was just under a second, because Michael O'Brien had just started to hunt them down a little bit. He just dropped Zach Meekin off his shoulder, which was definitely holding him up for the first half dozen laps or so. But is this going to be a first win for this car, for ALM Motorsport, number 90? Leonidas Caravasili, who's really come on in leaps and bounds this year, is waiting and waiting. And I did say this is a crew that just slightly made a mistake in their pit stop, went too soon yesterday. How much extra time do they build in to make sure they're just not even 0.1 of a second short? It's still another visit to the pits, and you can imagine what that does in a race like this. And it looks like they've just come out ahead But they were first and seconds. They came into the pits. The order is exactly the same. Jayden Kelly, well, he's a champion. He's now got to see if he can be an ultimate champion by taking another win. But at the moment, you can be sure Caravasili in the white car going down the slope from turn 2 towards turn 3 here is going to be absolutely doing everything. Lights are flashing away. That means
push to pass. Yeah, so they're on the push to pass. That's played out very nicely because Alejandro Capert in the number 12 SMC car is now slotted in right between them. They couldn't plan that better, really, but they were all on push to pass then just to try and get that little bit of advantage.
Yeah, just saw them coming down the slope in the light, and actually just coming out of what's effectively about turn 5. Caravasili got very, very loose indeed. The car snapped away. He got it about 10 degrees out of true, and now the speed he's carrying through the kink onto the Mistral straight, that could have come unstuck.
It could have, but he did use a lot of track limits there, to be fair. That's probably why he carried that much speed, but he won't be doing that too many laps, otherwise he'll get a penalty. Great result for the ALM car there after the pits. So far, so good for them. Now, they had a difference in 2 seconds in terms of success penalty in the pits between those two cars. So obviously the car 90 had 2 seconds less in the pits, and that probably played a little part into the way they went out of the pits, which was great for them. And I would say that both crews of cars 17 and 90 did an equally good job this time, because of the position on track was true to their success penalty.
It's not just your performance through the pit lane. We said it's 132 seconds plus 7 if you were yesterday's winners, so that's Michael O'Brien and Jayden Kelly. It's 139 seconds for them. But I also think it was just before the line coming into the pits. I think Michael O'Brien gained a little bit of time because he was about it. You would have thought if he had the extra 2 seconds, he'd have come out a little further back. So I think his in was slightly faster, and this is the experience you build up as a pro driver. But we're not complaining; it makes it all the closer for us. But at the moment, Zach Meakin and Harry Burgoyne just trying to see if everybody's made their pit stops now. It's quite hard, so much sun, but oh dear.
Made their pit stops and now got a 5-second penalty, unfortunately.
And that's for track limits, and we don't think that will be the last of the warnings for those. So that's unfortunate, because Zach Meakin had a really good run. He's running third. He was keeping Michael O'Brien, this year's new champion, with his teammate Jayden Kelly, completely honest the first part of the race. But part of the procedure of getting up with the others is pushing and pushing and pushing, and I'm afraid just one too many times going out beyond the track limits.
It's a fine line, Bruce, especially around here. These tyres are getting a little bit tired now. There we get a little bit of degradation, and you start losing the rears. Very hard on left fronts as well here. We have some lingering corners, especially as they're coming into a section now into turn 5. When they come out of this turn 5, they're going to turn 6. And if you look at turn 6, it's a very long right-hander, and he loads up that left front a lot. And at this point in the race, that left front is hurting. Yeah, we heard from some of the drivers before saying, I think it was Ryan James saying, of course, the tyres won't be quite so good when I get them, and how much push to pass. Right, here we have...
This is Zach Meakin, the final pit stop.
Yeah, final one of the year, because I think everybody else would have made their pit stops. He come in from the lead of the race. Remember, this car was running in third place overall. Has a 3-second extra time at the pit stop, which actually should close it 2 seconds on the two crews that were ahead of it. So, in fact, doing all those sums, if he'd stayed really close before, these three cars should almost be exactly together when this final pit stop is done. But let's find out. Harry Burgoyne started yesterday's race. It always gets swapped over. Who starts race 1 starts race. It goes second in race 2. And for Harry Burgoyne, he's got to sit there. He won't be able to see the cars coming down the pit straight until he's almost turning into turn 1. Yes, he has no view of where he's sitting now, but of course the team is on the radio telling him what the other cars are. That's Ryan Jones there, number 22, in a very good position now in terms of his situation with car 88. But first and second, they could afford to actually swap positions. They will still be champions, but this is now a race to the finish. They need to stay on track.
ALM clearly have been on the radio to Leo as well, because he's set a best time in sector 2 there. It's about half a second faster than the rest, and a second faster than Alejandro, who's in third. So he's clearly putting the hammer down to try and gain back some time, whilst Zach and swapped over to Harry, and they've just now rejoined. So where are they going to come out? Yeah, I know we're not supposed to be biased, but after the performance yesterday when they lost the race with that 20-second penalty, I have to say most of the paddock is really hoping for a good result for that car 90, and it looks like Leonidas Caravasili is doing his absolute best to bring that home for the team. Well, they've been 5th once, but 3rd and 2nd in all the other rounds. And yesterday it got away from them. But let's see. Just got to see where exactly car number 68 is going to slot back in. Harry Burgoyne will be coming out, but his teammate Alejandro Heppert, the driver, had an awful start yesterday, fell to the back of the field, really tigered up the order for his pit stop. He is sitting in front of this year's champion, Jayden Kelly.
The other champion in the pro class did the first part of the race. That's Michael O'Brien. He can do no more. I fancy Michael O'Brien gave them half an example. Well, it does seem as though Harry Burgoyne has come out in front. Remember, his pit stop had to be 2 seconds quicker or less elongated than Caravasili and Harrison, and 4 seconds quicker than Kelly O'Brien. So it was really worth Zach Meekin, because I did discuss before the cars came in, if you're behind another driver for lap after lap, you could potentially be slightly quicker, but you just can't find a way past. By staying out longer, he finally got clear track for 1 or 2 laps, I think it was, and he's made it work, plus the bonus, because he couldn't waste this opportunity. A potential 4-second gain over O'Brien and Kelly was too good to give up, but you just don't know until it's happened. But anyhow, right, SMC Motorsport leading the race from ALM Motorsport, using all the letters of the alphabet here, but that is how it is. We've just under 20 minutes remaining in this race. Beautiful sunshine, very windy, but more to the point, gusty around the circuit. That's definitely something that is keeping the drivers on their toes, or possibly almost blowing them off their toes. It's been very strong indeed, and the corner after scene, the double droite, the double right-hander, is the one where the cars get it right across the prow of their car when they're trying to turn in. So the drivers have to be really, really aware of what they're having, and one lap it'll be there, maybe not the next. So what is the lead? 2.2 seconds. Harry Burgoyne ahead of Leonidas Caravasili, another 1.5 seconds back to the sister car from SMC Motorsport with Alejandro Geppert, and then in behind him, this year's champion Jayden Kelly. Would have been delighted, the Australian teenager, but he'd like to end on a podium, end your season on a high. Would love to get another win, but you'd have to say it doesn't look as though it's going to happen today, does it?
Well, at the moment he's looking all right for a podium, because with that 5-second penalty for the 68 car, that puts him 4th, so that bumps everyone up at the moment. However,
well, it's already changed, because Harry Burgoyne has fallen back from 1st to 2nd. Leonidas Caravasili has gone past with great speed. I think Caravasili is using every bit of push to pass he has right now. Get clear. He's gone up into 1st place overall. Now here's the battle. This is the Pro-Am battle. Ryan James, Eric Burns. What's between them? Oh, the length of 2 cars. That is all. And so what we're seeing is Eric, we heard from him on the grid, and he's all about outright attack down into turn 1. That wasn't a serious look. That was just a sort of slightly unsettled Ryan James, and around the outside Eric Burns is going, but the track isn't straight, and so at this point it's just advantage to Ryan James. But side by side now, if they finish in these positions, even if they swap, let's start that again. If the Alpha B car goes in front, they will go through to victory in class. They'll take 15 points. 12 points for 2nd place, and that would still give the title to Ryan James and Ollie Webb. Ollie's standing in the pit lane, obviously with an abacus or something, trying to work out all the points permutations, but that is one that won't affect. Right, time penalty, 43 exceeding track limits, and that's Sam Nesser. So you'd think he hadn't had much of a chance to do that, so it's something he's sharing with his teammate Josh Mason. Obviously it's for the car, it's not for the individual driver, but the penalties have been mounting up, or the offence is being mounted up. So
yeah, that's right. Just to reiterate there, with the Pro-Am battle that you see on screen, there's only 7 points between those two, and if it finishes the way they are now, it will be still a championship for the 22 car. This is a pass there. Ooh, a little bit of contact there. Is that Fiona James and Klaus Hausig? Did I read that correct?
Yeah, absolutely correctly. It was a light contact. It was a late braking there from Fiona, and Klaus just couldn't quite avoid her. His nose slid across and contact was made, and the tail of Fiona's car just got moved around a few degrees. She'd have felt that, but she balanced it and held it on very nicely.
David Foster was there to pick up the pieces as well. Gained a place by passing Klaus.
Quite literally.
Exactly, yes. So David's our 2023 570S champion, so it's great to have him back. He did a race with us last year at Spa, actually came back, did a couple of rounds. He hasn't raced anything since. He did a test at Donington about 6 weeks ago, but apart from that, jumped in the car, got a podium yesterday. So
he's got the taste back again.
He has. He's enjoying being back.
Yeah, for someone who's not done the whole season, he jumped in, and actually his pace is pretty impressive, given the lack of time that he's had with the car.
So Leonidas Caravasili leads the race 1 second, almost precisely, then 3/4 of a second back from car number 68, but there is a 5-second time penalty to add to Harry Burgoyne's car in 2nd, and that will put it down to 5th position overall, elevating Sam Nesser, Jayden Kelly and Alejandro Geppert. So Geppert will go ahead of his teammate. 12 will move ahead of 68, so will 17, and so will 43. Hold on, was there a penalty for 43 as well? A 3-second time penalty. Oh. It's a mathematician's delight.
Isn't it just? Who won the race? I have no idea when you come to the end. That's why we have Tom Baker here in the booth, so he can do all the maths for us.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Well, maybe it'll be nice and simple for us. Maybe the car that's first to the finish line will win the race outright. Let's hope there are no penalties for all the front runners, but for Leonidas Caravasili leading the race, being chased and really caught by Harry Burgoyne. Actually, Harry there is in second place, right on his tail. It says it's a 9/10 of a second. It's nothing of the sort. It's a car length. They go through the final corner. It's a really tight corner onto the start-finish straight. We saw several drivers just making slight mistakes over the curbing yesterday, not able to get the power down. And at this form, well, this is the only hope for Harry Burgoyne, to get ahead, and then maybe he's got more push to pass. He's using a bit of it now, and then see if he can streak clear in the lead of the race and build a 5-second cushion. But he's only got 14 and a bit minutes remaining to do so into the first corner. No door left open, but certainly in terms of the momentum in this battle, it really is the case. The SMC Motorsport car, number 68 in behind. He's behind, but he's also in front, and even further back, because of course he's got a 5-second penalty, but he's got to get to the lead of the race ahead of the white ALM Motorsport, number 90, but Leonidas Caravasili driving very nicely indeed.
Caravasili using all the room and a bit more, so you've got to be careful with that track limits. He's also pushing on that button. The lights are flashing, so for those of you watching the race for the first time, the McLarens have the push to pass button, as we mentioned. When the lights are flashing, it means they're using it, and Caravasili's been making a lot of use of it recently, and he was very much on track limits coming out of the last turn onto the pit straight. He's feeling the pressure from Burgoyne behind.
But this is what it's all about, ignore the penalties for a moment, but the message might have got through, but he's been pushed so hard by Harry Burgoyne, he can't ignore it, can't just go, yeah, you've got 5 seconds. Because Burgoyne at any point is going to make a move. It's just waiting for the moment. He's getting closer and closer. Right, there's traffic up ahead. I think that was Rafael Muncharaz who lost ground earlier by that early pit stop he made, because once they've caught him, is it going to be an advantage to be the race leader, to be Caravasili and then taking a wider line at the top of the hill? This is a move being set up down the inside, but is he going to stay there into the double Duat? Well, I think that's move made.
That's a clean move made, and you're saying about the 5-second penalty there for that car, that number 68. I hope the ALM has told that to Caravasili, so he's not risking that position too much. And it looks like, the move was made, it was clean, and Caravasili is still running, still effectively in the lead of the race. He needs to just stay tight with him now.
This good battle, though, is really helping Alejandro and Will in the number 12 behind, because this is a battle for second overall second in the Pro class in Championship Honours. So at the moment, Alejandro and Will lead Sam and Leo by 1 point. So if they can get in front, and hopefully this battle has helped close them back in, they might be able to swing that back in their favour.
Yeah, it's all ifs and buts and maybes, but all it would take with one little slip from Caravasili, and then things would change very much indeed. And after yesterday's disappointment when they got the 20-second penalty that cost them their first win, it'd be really cruel if they lost out. But hey, this is racing, may the best person win. But now, a bit of traffic up ahead. How's that going to affect our front 3 cars as they come through? I think Harry Burgoyne's just got enough of a gap over the white car in second place of Leonidas Caravasili, but it may not be the car behind him shortly. Muncharaz moves out the way, well done. Hasn't affected any of those front 3 cars as they sweep through, and importantly, he could have slightly interrupted them going through the corner onto the Mistral straight, that very fast left-hand kink. He also didn't interrupt the car in 4th place with a driver who was crowned champion last night, Jayden Kelly. Be nice for him to see if he can get up, but he's probably been told, just remember, one of those cars up front's got a 5-second penalty, so you could get onto the podium here in the final round of 25.
Yes, but Caravasili now with Alex Appert, a very, very fast young charger there behind, looking a little bit more pacier than Leonidas, and that would be for the race lead. So he's protecting that lead as much as he can. He's using a lot of track limits. Caravasili, he needs to be very careful before he gets the black and white.
Now, we were talking before the race how ALM Motorsport clearly has got a very nice setup for their cars this weekend, but I'd say in race form today, SMC Motorsport seem to have the one that works better for the conditions. The doors half open, 3/4 open, and Geppert, actually, don't know if there was contact, but certainly Caravasili went very wide indeed. Was the side on side? Can't tell. Caravasili in the white nose car still holding on to second place overall. Remember, the car in front has got a 5-second penalty that it will get at the end of the race, so this is actually, the battle we're looking at now is for first and second, but if Burgoyne can carry on escaping, he may yet in the final 10 minutes gain enough, but I don't think so. But what an effort from Alex Geppert, pushing and shoving round the final corner, all legal. Right, pushed push to pass, use everything you can. What's happening in the background? Jayden Kelly is closing in. He's not in their battle. This is all really good news for Harry Burgoyne in the lead of the race. Fight as much as you want, gentlemen.
Fantastic race there in the Pro class. That's how we want to see it. Hotly contested, but no contact so far. Let's hope it stays that way. But yeah, Caravasili under enormous pressure. And how much push to pass does he have left? I haven't seen Burgoyne using, Alex using a lot on the push to pass button. So it's going to come down to that. Who's got more at the end?
Yeah, and again, talking about penalties, the car in fifth place. Sam Nesser, he has car number 43. That's got a 5-second penalty as well, because otherwise he would be finishing up one position. But that will put him behind car number 48. Hardly talked about Michael Carson and Robin Knudsen. They had a really good start to yesterday's race, but they're sort of moving up the order, 6th place overall. But 2 penalties for 2 of the top 5 cars. That will change things. But what's the gap first to second? He's already gone out to 2.6 seconds. The advantage is growing. He's got to get more than 5 seconds clear. The car number 68, Harry Burgoyne, at the wheel. He's got a job to do, but he's now got clean air, pressing on. And again, one of these super young drivers. Just quickly looking at my records. How old is Harry Burgoyne? Well, I tell you what, at the end of this month, he turns 18. Disgraceful, isn't it, honestly?
Well, Jayden Kelly turns 19 next month, so, you know, it's a young man's game, isn't it? But we were talking about Rafael Manchares, who is still doing a fantastic job leading the AM class. We spoke slightly out of turn. Because he's a guest entry, he pits in the Pro-Am window, rather than the 20 to 30 minute window which the AMs stop in. So that's why he was early into the pits earlier in the race.
Yeah, we knew that. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Super complicated, but well done, because that does answer a question, doesn't it? So again, with these variable times at which you can start making your dive into the pit lane, but all eyes on this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th on the track, but they're all close enough together to the race leader. Harry Burgoyne is now 2.6, 2.7 seconds up the track. He's got a 5-second penalty, so all these cars, instead of looking 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and Jayden Kelly is all over the tail of Geppert there. This could be the moment that, he can either get a double toe down the start-finish straight, or he could finally give a helping hand to Caravasili. Actually, a slightly poor exit from the final corner for Jayden Kelly. I think he got very close to the tail of Geppert, and that didn't help too much. Geppert gets his nose in front. He's on the outside of the corner. No, the inside line has been blocked off by Caravasili, but we're quite warm in the commentary box. I tell you, there'll be a whole lot warmer in those cars.
And Caravasili and Burgoyne are definitely holding themselves back. So Jayden Kelly is now very close to them. In fact, it was 2 to 3 tenths faster on that last lap than the 2 in front of him.
Yeah, but getting close, you can either be a help or a hindrance. So I guess what one needs to know is there anybody immediately ahead of them that they might be coming up to lap? And the answer for these drivers actually is good. There isn't. They've got clear track. I don't think they're going to pick anyone off. They're just coming onto the Mistral straight. There they are, through that really far left-hand king. Let's see who actually stays on the track. All 3 of them, well done, not over the lines on the outside. And now our race leader, Harry Burgoyne, doing what you'd expect. He's just moved past Klaus Halsig, so he's got a tiny bit of traffic between him and the rest, but using push to pass up to the chicane, halfway up the Mistral straight, and his advantage 4 seconds. I didn't think he'd be able to pull out this before the end of the race. I remember when he took the lead, he had 14 minutes remaining in this race, but he is stretching away at the moment. Used pretty much all of his push to pass, one would assume, but he's picked off a back marker, which is Klaus Halsig in the orange car, background of the shot. But 2nd, 3rd and 4th, almost nose to tail, coming up the hill, but it is Caravasili still in that 2nd place.
Yes, and the pace of Burgoyne there, a 2:07.2 on the last lap, when Caravasili only managed a 2:08.1. So nearly a second faster than Caravasili in 2nd on the road, but obviously 1st at the moment. But the screen now shows 3.5 second gap between the Burgoyne and Caravasili. So it's still in Caravasili's way, but only 6 minutes to go.
Counting down, but in fact it went out to 4 seconds, down to 3.2 seconds now, and I guess that was as maybe a slight delay for our race leader Harry Burgoyne getting past Klaus Halsig. I'm just trying to guess here, but he lost suddenly 0.8 of a second, and we could be dealing with 0.1 of a second come the end of this race that will be defining whether any of these 3 cars could still take victory. But certainly for Harry Burgoyne, all he can do is keep his head down. 3.9, nearly 4 seconds clear, 6 minutes left on the clock. He can do this, but has he got, what's he taken out of his tyres? You know, this is something you have to consider late in this race, and around a circuit like this, Tommy, which tyre takes the most damage?
The rears definitely at the end of the race, both rears will start suffering, but the left front, it'll be absolutely, completely worn out, pretty much on the outside. They actually roll out a lot of camber dynamically, and there's a lot of pressure on the outside of the tyre here. Right,
so what we see is cars not handling as they would have been at the start of the race, drivers having to be just that little bit more aware of what's going on. And if you're in the Pro-Am class, of course, it's now in the hand of the Am driver who's got to do the longest stint in the race. So again, it's all part of the learning process. This wonderful battle for second and third and fourth now seems to have finally got a few bits of daylight. Our race leader is tucked in behind Fiona James. Fiona in yellow and white car just gone out of us. Shot here. Now coming up to the chicane, halfway up the Mistral Straight, turning left, second place, Leo Caravasili. He's 4.2 seconds down. The car in front of him has got a 5-second penalty. But I'd say another 2 laps, maybe even 1 lap, and Harry Burgoyne could have done enough to get 5 seconds clear. The only hope for Caravasili in this quest to try and get a win in 2025. Almost always on the podium, never a winner. A bit like Patrick Depailler in Formula 1. Long time ago. Always the bridesmaid, but it did come good, and it may yet work for Caravasili and Sam Harrison. But I think traffic's going to do something. But I think the good thing for Caravasili, he's got a tiny gap over Jayden Kelly. It's just over half a second, and that may be just enough breathing space for him to relax and just put his car exactly where he wants, because otherwise he's losing time. Car 48, another penalty coming, and that is, well, it's for the Knutsen Carlsen ALM Motorsport car running in 6th place overall, so quite a few drivers, and there may yet be a penalty on the final lap, because it's, again, remember, it's accrued penalties you get for exceeding track limits, the number of warnings you get, and then you've got the penalty to go with it.
I'm just going to jump in here because Harry Burgoyne is just about to overtake Duncan Tappy, who is with, Ron Trenker, who is actually leading the Papaya Cup. So there's a bit of a change around in that class. So Ron is now leading. We've got Fiona James in second, and Klaus Hausig has dropped to third. That is still enough for him to take the title, but the gap has dropped to just 5 points. So Ron has done absolutely everything he can. So that's gone, that's closed up the battle. Is nice, but as it stands, Klaus will still be crowned Papaya Cup champion.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Bruce, on the last lap there, actually, Jayden Kelly got ahead of Alex Weppert, so he's now the one behind Caravasili.
Okay, different attack. Well, we've seen Geppert fight for lap after lap. He got super close, couldn't find a pass way past. And remember the way that Kelly caught up with that battle for second and third. He got on the tail, now he's moved up, and this is a different person trying to put pressure on Caravasili in second place. 4.8 seconds, just about. That's the gap between first and second. There's a 5-second penalty. We've got 2 minutes and 2 3/4 minutes remaining. And at this pace, if Harry Burgoyne doesn't have a problem, he is going to be able to get through. But it's bobbing up and down at certain timing intervals. It's 4.7 seconds. Other points it's 4.5. But all the drivers just gone off the top of the screen. Susine can do. Ears back, 5 seconds clear now, 5.029, and that is Harry Burgoyne. He can count on nothing. He's going to have this lap and 1 more lap, but if he can just carry on, even if he backs off a bit, I think he's just got this. But you cannot say anything. We have no idea who's got more push to pass left. If someone saved it and early in the race, Sam Harrison got clear, but he used the push pass a lot to get that advantage, to shake off the second place chaser. Well,
I agree, Bruce. I saw him using quite a lot of the push to pass, and based on the last lap time, Burgoyne did a 2:07.2 against a 2:07.7 for Caravasili, so a half a second, and he's got another lap to build onto that. So it looks like Harry Burgoyne might just make it.
Certainly does, and well, we will see. We don't know where all the traffic's lying. It could just be something in the wrong moment, but there was a victory in the second of the 2 races at Nürburgring. So for Harry Burgoyne and Zach Meekin, they know what it takes to win, but this is doing it the hard way, putting a shackle around one of your ankles. And now this is the moment for Jayden Kelly. He's in the second of the 2 cars. He's tucked in behind Leonidas Caravasili. Almost getting the front right-hand wheel off the ground as he hit the curb going through this second turn of this 15-turn lap. But is there going to be a gap in the armour? But he's champion. He's a champion. Doesn't have to win this race, but well, of course he wants to. But at the moment, these 2 cars, because they're fighting, that has allowed the car with the 5-second penalty that's leading by 5.7 seconds to possibly be heading to victory in this race. And if it hadn't been for this intense battle, I'm fairly sure that Caravasili would have had enough to stay just within that 5-second margin and take the win that he and his teammate Sam Harrison have been looking for all season long.
Absolutely, Bruce, and they are definitely coming to the flag now. There's no more time left. I think they will exhaust. There was 40 seconds left on the clock, and but Caravasili doing a good job there, keeping Jayden Kelly behind so far.
And interesting, as Caravasili and Kelly came up towards the chicane on the Mistral Straight, no more push to pass left. The lights aren't flashing anymore. They have emptied the bucket. And for our race leader, here he comes. Harry Burgoyne, top of the hill, it's seen 20 seconds remaining on the clock. He's just got to complete this lap, but what is the margin between them? It's just got to be more than 5 seconds. 5 seconds, 5.001 would be enough. They've had a win already this year, and today they've done it, and they've done it the hard way, exceeding track limits. It looked as though it was going to cost them their second win of the season, but as it is, and it looked as though Sam Harrison and Leonidas Karavasili would take a first win after a season of trying, but with the final sequence of corners, the sweep coming up to the penultimate corner now, it's a tightish left before a much tighter right, but a really good smooth run by Zach Meakin, who kicked off, and Harry Burgoyne, who's bringing it home. And in terms of their championships, we'll get touched on the points, but they came into this one is 5th place overall. They won't be able to get to second, but that will certainly help their chances. But victory, but what is the margin going to be? Here comes the car in second place, and in third it's Karavasili ahead of Jayden Kelly, crown champion last night. Kelly was car number 17, waiting for that timing interval to come on the screen, and it's going to be surely more than 5 seconds unless something went wrong for Harry Burgoyne, but he had the clear run to the finish, and I think all is fine. Squinting at timing screens, waiting for that interval to come up, but surely just enough was done. I think it'd be just north of 6 seconds clear. So a race of real contrast, got pretty much everyone to the finish there, but remember, we've got to find out who's won the Papaya Cup and who has won the Pro-Am category, but fairly sure by coming home nicely placed in class that we will have victory in that class, Ryan James and Ollie Webb. Again, they were pushed really hard, and I think we've got pretty much every car to the finish of the race today, so that was good. But a really good drive from Zach Meakin and Harry Burgoyne, kept their cool, saved a little bit of the push to pass Tommy, and that really can be so helpful.
Very much so. It's, this is great because it obviously brings this strategy into place, using all these elements with the pit stop and the push to pass button. But what a great end of season, really. What a fantastic race. Right to the final second, really, to decide who won the race. I hope, and I know I've got Tom Baker here in my background doing the calculations on how the championship finished. But although the Sam Harrison and Leonidas Karavasili car didn't quite win the race, I think they would have scored enough points to claim second position, which is so well deserved for that crew.
Yeah, they do. They jump. So they finish on 90 points in second place. That's Alejandro Gepert and Will Aspin third on 87, and with that win for Zach and Harry, that puts them on 84 in fourth. So very close.
Yeah, what a great performance from Zach Meakin as well and Harry Burgoyne. They've been really very consistent since Spa. They was a fantastic performance, so a well-deserved win today.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's great to see the progression that they've made. There was a last-minute change in the Papaya Cup, so Ron Trenker and Fiona James there. So, yep, Klaus takes that by 5 points. Congratulations, Klaus.
Well, he came on with the 10-point advantage, but it's about nursing it. And by the way, the margin that Harry Burgoyne built at the end was 6.13 seconds. So he had it with 1.13 seconds to hand, but it was a chase. But again, all the crews had to be completely clear to their drivers what they had to achieve, with penalties being applied. And again, you had to keep looking at timing screens. Some other crews were getting very close to their final warning, and they too could have gained 5 seconds or had it added to their time at the end of the race. But good job, well done, and now we know the identity of all our title winners. Last night the pro class was landed for Jayden Kelly and Michael O'Brien. In Am, Tim Docker got the job done, so they could all enjoy their races today. But Ryan James and Ollie Webb, they were leading the Pro-Am last night, and they did enough today. And in the Papaya Cup, Klaus Halsig leading last night, and he did just enough. But as Tom Baker was saying there, that changed on the final lap. So right to the last race, the 10th race of the 2025 season, and still things were to be settled. But for Harry Burgoyne, who will be climbing out, I'm sure there's going to be a massive smile on his face. A winner before, but he and his teammate Zach Meakin got the job done today. Did make it quite difficult for themselves with the 5-second penalty, but having got clear, the important move was to get past Karavasili and then try and pull clear, which he did.
Yeah, once again, great performance there. Great to see also SMC at the top again in the race. That closes the season effectively in Europe. What a great team they've been over the last couple of seasons. They've had a bit of a tough season this year with different things going on, but obviously a lot more competition from very strong teams and drivers. But SMC is showing their mettle there and really performing incredibly well over the last 2 or 3 races.
Yeah, entirely so. So second place today. They could have won last night. They didn't. A 20-second penalty, which was massive, and that really cost Sam Harrison and Leonidas Karavasili. But you'd say they didn't do races 1 and 2 in this 10-race championship. That puts you on a massive back foot. But since then, they've scored more points than anybody else, but they've come away without the title. But that is by dint of only doing rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. But They've finished every single one. They've been second more than they've been third. They were once in fifth. That was their only aberration. So super consistent from this young crew of drivers. But again, so much to be learned. The race is 50 minutes long. You have to time the pit stops right. You've got to work out how much of the push to pass you can use at any point in the race. Do you need to save it for later? Your pit crew have to say, you know what, when you come out of the pits, you're probably going to have some other people near you save the push to pass for then, or do you go early in the race, as I think Sam Harrison did, just make the break, get people out of your toe up the Mistral straight? It's a balance.
Sam did a fantastic job at the beginning, and to have that gap over someone like Michael O'Brien in the championship-winning car, that says a lot about the performance of that car and that driver. But then you have to ask, with Leonidas Carvasili struggling a little bit at the end, perhaps with a little bit more pace, did Sam use those tires a little bit too much and didn't have much left for Leonidas? Maybe so, but you know, you can't fault what those two guys did and the team. Fantastic result for them.
Well, I tell you what, Zach Meakin started the race and Harry Burgoyne finished, and Marietta has caught them in Parc Fermé.
Harry, that was the opposite of an easy win. You knew you had to open a 5-second gap. You made it happen. Tell us, how did you manage that stint?
So I came out the pits and managed to get a pretty good lap in for my first lap, and then coming into turn one, we actually had a problem with the engine or the gearbox. It lost all drive, so it let them pass. So it was hard to get back past them and pull 5 seconds. So I mean, it was a really challenging race with the tyres being older and everything, but yeah, really happy.
When did you realise you could make it happen?
Like 3 laps to go, I just got told, just keep pushing, you're almost there, and I managed just to do some good laps at the end, so it was pretty good.
And how was it for you, following all of this from the pit wall?
Definitely exciting. Made a few little mistakes, got the penalty, so tried staying as close as I could to the lead cars in front. Gave it to Harry and fingers were crossed and the little Scotsman did it.
And how does it feel to finish the season with a win here in Paul Ricard?
Definitely a great increase from what we started on. It's great to finish the season on a high, so just a shame we couldn't have been there for the championship, but we gave it our all.
Amazing job today, well done guys.
So that was Harry Burgoyne and Zach Meakin, handshake between the pair of them. They worked hard, second win of the season, but you know, to do it and to give yours, as Zach Meakin said, I made a few mistakes. And that was because he was trying so hard to get up with Michael O'Brien, champion. There's the gold standard. If you can stay with him, that's great. But he was pushing him, and you learn about how to use your tyres through across the race. But it is that moment where you just say, oh, yes, now's my chance. You just run wide. One warning. You gradually get the warnings added together, and eventually you add too many. 5-second penalty. What a killer. But it was how they reacted to that. And certainly Harry Burgoyne kept his cool, kept his calm. We knew their pit stop was going to be 2 seconds shorter than one of their rivals and 4 seconds shorter than the other. Would they come out ahead after the pit stops? Zach Meakin stayed out as long as he could to have a few good laps with no one in front of him, and they did enough. And he came out in front, and that was an excellent race for them.
It was an excellent race, Bruce. Yeah, great performance by both of them, and they've been performing at that level really for the last 3 races particularly. And Zach Meakin, he may have said that he made a few mistakes, but he's also performing incredibly well this season, especially towards the last few races, as I said. His pace in qualifying as well is very, very good, and Harry's pace obviously in the race today was fantastic.
Now another title battle was sorted out today, Tommy, and Ryan James and Ollie Webb are Pro-Am champions, and let's hear their thoughts.
Congratulations to our Pro-Am champions. What was going through your mind during your stint?
First part was battling with Eric, which is always fun. And the second part were the alarms coming up on the dash from our electrical issue. So I was just in there, petting her, praying, and bringing it back home.
What does it mean for you to win this title?
Oh, so excited. This is we won 570 champions last year. And to be here as Pro-Am champs, it just warms our hearts.
Ollie, also superb job the way you managed your first stint, not taking any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, which is hard when Bradley Ellis is behind you, but yeah, look, it was really good. Our race starts have always been good. Ryan's done an incredible job. I think what wasn't portrayed across the TV screen was the fact that we had a low voltage alarm which was getting lower and lower every single lap, so we were biting our nails on the pit wall. But I'm so proud of this guy to be in his second ever year of racing and have 2 championships under his belt and have made such a family here. He's done a really good job, so great day.
Well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, some of the crowd like that very much indeed. And again, it's about these various battles. We've got the Pro, the Pro-Am, the Am, and Papaya Cup as well. So, you know, there are many elements we have to look at. You've got the different length pit stops, the success penalty. You've got the different timing of the pit stops. So many elements. And you only really know when you get into the final 20 minutes of this race. Everyone should have made their pit stops. And then who's where. But then the penalties start coming.
That's it. There's lots that you have to put into the mix. But it's great to see Ryan James and Ollie Webb there, winners, deserving winners. And this year they had real competition, really strong competition. They came up with the goods, so fantastic.
They did. Another person who came up with the goods, Papaya Cup champion, and it's Klaus Halsig with Marietta.
Klaus, we talked on the grid at the beginning of the race, and look, you did make it happen. You are our Papaya Cup winner.
Yes, I'm very proud of it, and I owe it all to my team, SMC Motorsport, the car number 69 team. They gave me a perfect vehicle, and of course my pro driver Bradley Ellis. I would be nothing without him. He has taken me along for 12 years already, and I owe him everything. Thank you very much. Thank you, McLaren.
And he did an amazing first stint, Brad, as well.
Absolutely, he needs a little challenge and then he goes for it.
Well done, congratulations to our champion.
Thank you.
Well, great to see Klaus Halsig. He's always smiling. He has one of the best liveries. If you take a look at his car, he's always excited. But, you know, the gratitude there, and it just shows it is a journey. It's not just about learning how to be fast. It's learning when to deliver, how to keep your car sweet on its tyres, and so many elements. But, you know, just the sheer joy of racing. As Klaus said before the race, he came to the racing late. He doesn't mean 10 o'clock at night. He means, you know, once he had probably 50 candles on his cake. But, you know, loving it. And it's so crystal clear why something like the McLaren Trophy Europe is just right for him. Absolutely,
Bruce. This is one of the things that the highlight for me in the championship is the Pro-Am class, and really happy for Halsig.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the highlights now. 50 minutes of racing. We were lined up. We had 2 titles already in the bag. At the start, it was all an evenish start, but a brilliant start actually from the third row of the grid from Josh Mason. He was trying to go up the middle. He got into third place. You can see the green nose of his car picking off both of the SMC Motorsport cars, but then went back to fourth at the second corner, back to fifth again by the third. But it was out front. It was Sam Harrison getting clear of the pole starting car of Michael O'Brien, who was crowned champion last night in the 9th race. This is the 10th race, and Harrison's job was to get clear. That's exactly what he did. O'Brien was kept very honest indeed. Zach Meakin pushing him hard. A bit of a gap to the sister car, which is chasing through. Will Aspin at the wheel. That closed up. Then it came the timing of the pit stops. But number 17 started on pole, but it knew it was having 7 seconds extra at the pit stop. Number 90, it came out close behind, but that had 5 extra seconds at the pit stop. That was close. But the important thing out on the track is they came out just ahead of Alejandro Heppert. Well, Heppert was behind one of them, but that would be he'd be moved back down the order a little bit because Jayden Kelly was getting onto his tail. But the big question was, Zach Meakin stayed out. He was going to be the last of the pit stoppers, and it was where he would come back out because his pit stop was 2 seconds short of one of his rivals and 4 seconds short of the other. And the answer was he came out in front. And that was absolutely crucial. Then we had a little moment here, Fiona James getting a little tap there from Klaus Halsig, but Klaus must have gone, hold on, my job is to win the Papaya Cup. So he kept it neat and tidy after that and set off. Some penalties began to be issued for exceeding track limits. This is a fantastic battle in the Pro-Am class, and certainly Eric Behrens went around the outside of Ryan James, but Ryan knew on the points advantage that was okay. As long as they came first and second in the title battle, that was good. Great move here from car number 68, making the move towards the front. Harry Burgoyne took the lead, and I think it was about this point the 5-second penalty became clear to all. So the job for Burgoyne, the Scottish racer, was to get clear. The battle for second was really raging on. And at the end, clear. Was it going to be 5 seconds? Was it going to be slightly more? It was slightly more. So victory, even including the penalty, went to Harry Burgoyne and Zach Meakin, and you can see how much they loved it. Final race of 2025, over and out. Let's look at the race results at the end. As you can see, did enough. Eventually came home 6.1 seconds clear for a 1.1 second win. Harry Burgoyne and Zach Meakin for SMC Motorsport. Leonidas Karavasili built on the work of Sam Harrison, just coming up again short of their first ever win in the championship. And last night they were crowned pro champions. Today, third place overall for Michael O'Brien and Jayden Kelly, and they were just 4 seconds or so clear of Alejandro Geppert and Will Aspin. So the championship order at the top changed. Not at the top, but in the battle for second place, and Harrison and Caravasili second place meant they come as runners-up in the overall championship this year. Sam Nesser, Josh Mason having to make do with fifth place, Robbie Knutson, Michael Carson in sixth, then Eric Burns and Lucas Sundal won the Pro-Am race today, but that wasn't enough. The title went to the car that came home just a little bit behind them, Ryan James and Ollie Webb. They are the Pro-Am champions for 2025. Eighth place did just enough for them. And going on, good to have David Foster back. First race of meeting of his this year with Tom Holland. They took 9th overall. Ron Trenker and Duncan Tappy 10th. Fiona James and Maurice Henry 11th. Then Raphael Muncherath 12th. Klaus Halsig and Bradley Ellis. But that was enough. 13th place for them, just ahead of Tim Docker, was enough for Klaus Halsig to be crowned as the Papaya Cup champion for 2025. So a race, Tommy, full of incident, but full of penalties, full of elements to consider. The timing of the pit stops, when to use your push to pass. And you know what? The wind actually did the decent thing. It actually dropped during the course of this race. We thought it'd be, but what a great race to end the season.
Fantastic, yeah. Fantastic to be here at sunny Paul Ricard and seeing races going right to the end. So hoping for more next year, and we still have one more race in America, in Indianapolis. That'll be fantastic. So we'll see.
So that's it from 2025. It's over and out from Paul Ricard. Join us in 26.